Time is 5:33, March 12th. We're calling the meeting to order for the Board of Assessment Appeals.
And everybody, all 5 members are present. Paulette Cuso by phone. Everyone else in person. Okay. And say the pledge?
Yeah.
I put it on the agenda anyway.
Second time I did this.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Did you stand on your bed, Paulette?
Yes, I did. I got up from my bed.
Right, and I put approval of the minutes on the agenda first, so we can just get those out of the way while it's easiest. So we have 4 sets of minutes. February 20th regular meeting where we made most of our plans for this month. The March 4th hearings in the morning. The Wednesday, March 5th hearings in the evening, and then our deliberations on the evening of March 6th. So I think I sent everybody an email with links to those, and they're all been on the website for a few days. So, all good. Any changes or modifications?
I have none.
No changes from my perspective.
Want someone make a single motion to approve all 4? And then we'll...
Yes.
I make a motion that we approve all 4 minutes to the meetings. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you very much, everybody.
Before we begin, one housekeeping thing. I mentioned this last time, but we didn't do it. I can't participate in these meetings, and nobody could, if everybody's going to talk at once. So you've asked me to mute myself because there's been noise in my room. That's what it's like when I'm listening to all of you. So I'd like us to go one at a time. Everybody gets a chance to talk, more than once if you need to. But we need to go in some semblance of order so I can understand it. And I think so. I don't know if anybody else is listening, but they must be having the same problem I am. So I don't care who goes first.
Okay, so I'm happy to do it. You want to go in a circle, everybody, and Paulette?
That's good, yeah.
Yeah, that's
I'll
fine.
read
I'll go
what
last.
the appeal is, and then...
Yep.
Okay.
I'll go last.
You want... Okay. And so I'll read it, and Helene, then if you want to go first. So we'll just do them in numerical order. Is that all right? Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah.
So the first one we have is appeal number 3. The property address is 1132 Catamount Road in Fairfield. The owner's name is Tate and Jennifer Wingate. The town has the property valued at $1,012,700. And they're requesting a reduction to $927,000.
Okay.
And they provided, let's see, when they were here for their hearing, they then emailed us back with some actual comps, 5 of them, I guess, with listing the assessed values, the bedrooms, bath sizes, the lot.
Let me try to find them. I'm trying to get on the internet here. Somebody else?
I'll make a comment because I was looking at those comps that they provided separately after the hearing, and several of them I don't feel are relevant comps. 2031 Reading Road, as you know, is I'm sorry, hold on one second. Hold on.
Historic house.
So I want to make one comment. I am familiar with this house on Catamount. It was one of my daughter's friend's houses. There was a GE executive that moved in, I guess, 2012. So I'm quite familiar with being inside the home. So 2023 Reading Road, I didn't feel was a good comp. Because it did sell in April of 2020. However, it sold for $762 and was a SH show. It was over 400 days on the market and originally was at $949. So it sold, in my opinion, more as a distressed antique. And I don't feel like antiques are good comps to begin with, but that one in particular had a lot of issues. So I sort of discarded that one.
Can you just repeat the address, because I think their thing said 2031 Reading.
2031.
31. Okay.
Yes. I'm reading my notes. 480 Rolling Hills, I did not also feel was a good comp because it was so far away.
Right.
Rolling Hill, Helene is nodding her head in agreement. Rolling Hills is a less desirable area. It's on the right side of Morehouse Highway, borders Easton, and as realtors, we just know that is a very it's just in a less desirable area than centrally located Catamount. Now, knowing that Catamount still is pretty far up off of Reading Road, so I sort of discounted that one as well. And that one did sell in December of 20 for $880. I thought that, again, when you have a house on the street, that's always a pretty decent comp. This one, 272 Catamount. Sold a little bit past the cutoff, right? Because it was March of 2021, but we can note that and sort of maybe make our way back a little bit. That listed for $1,045,000 and it sold for $1,001,000. Is that right?
Which one? I have it
one?
closing as $1,045,000.
Oh, $1,045,000.
What I closed at.
And it listed at $1,001,000. So
Yeah.
that one didn't quite hit the list either. Arguably had a half acre more. So, and that was, I believe, a 5-bedroom. So I thought that again, you've got a house on the street that's pretty decent. And then Mine Hill, 100 Mine Hill is land, so I threw that one out.
Right.
Yeah, it's new construction in 2022.
But it was sold for $720 as land,
Right.
so that's out. And then Stella, I'm also familiar with this house. This also was housed by my daughter's friends, and so I'm very familiar with Stella. I thought that I put my notes that was a decent comp too, and that sold in December of 2020. I have for $860. Again, didn't sell at list at $899.
What number on Stella was that?
160 on the far end of Stella,
Okay.
right on the dead end. But that's right around the corner, and it's a dead end.
Oh, yeah.
But that's also right by, excuse me for interrupting, that's also right by the high tension wire.
Yeah, by Misty Wood, yep.
Oh, by Misty Wood.
That crosses over Misty Wood.
Yeah. So can you repeat what they were looking for? They're looking for...
Yep, they were asking to go to $927,000. When I asked them how they came up with the number, they said they guessed at it. That's what I have in my notes.
Yeah. So I guess 272 Catamount is a pretty decent comp. If you think that demand was sort of COVID demand was starting to drive those numbers up, but it still didn't hit list. So if it were that heavy of a bidding, it would have been at or above list, and it didn't.
Good point.
I don't really have much of.
No, I agree with you on the comps. Honestly, I don't think they really proved their case, to be honest with you, for the 927, right?
Yeah, because I threw out 3 out of the 5.
I totally agree.
You agree.
With that.
And then Stella's people don't really love that area, so I don't know if that's a good one. So the only good one is Catamount, and I feel like that's sort of pointing towards where they're at $1 million.
Right, exactly.
Okay.
No, I agree with you.
Anyone else?
I'll agree with you. I looked at those comps. I looked at the prices. The 272 Catamount was built the same year or 2 years earlier. It's a 1986. The subject property is a 1988. The subject property has more value in their house, even though it's opposite in the land. But 272 Catamount is also a modern style house, where the Catamount one, I believe, is a conventional. So the modern styles are, they have less value with the town, but they're also probably more difficult to sell than the traditional colonials. And it sold for $1,045,000, like you said, in March of '21. So I'm feeling like for them to be at $1,012,000 is probably not bad compared to a modern that's on the same street. And their 5,000 square feet, the Catamount was 4,200 square feet. So they're, even though they have a little less acreage, they still have 2 acres. And the Catamount one was, 700 square feet less. So that's my opinion, is I don't see, and I didn't see the other comps as relevant either.
Peter, do you have anything?
No, I mean, I thought some of the comps were pretty much along with what Carol said. Didn't think there were none, some of them were not all of it.
I have no argument about whether or not the case was proven. I agree, but I just want to make something clear just for going forward. Modern houses, as opposed to traditional colonials, have always been a problem. The town values them less, and a lot of people don't like them. But they've come more into vogue as more people are embracing the open floor plan, because they're more open than the traditional center hall colonials. And also you get an extra room downstairs, which you don't get in those houses. So I don't want us to go into the rest of the meeting thinking that, oh yeah, they're valued less. They're not always less desirable to the public than the traditional colonial or case. That's all. And I agree with Colleen and Carol in their feeling about the comps.
And I just want to add, when the appellant did send in their these lists, they were looking at the assessed value of the properties and comparing it to their own. They weren't really they didn't look at the sale prices when they put it together. So I just think that had they looked at the sale prices, it might have been a different look.
They did, I think that they did, though, because I don't know if they looked at in their analysis, but they used that time frame as a guide to choose those comps, but that time frame alone wasn't enough because the comps didn't hold up.
Right, and all of them are assessed, at least the higher ones are assessed, like Catamount is assessed at $645,000, which is way below, right, what, below the $1,045,000 that it sold for. Even though assessed, if you turn that into appraised, it's appraised way less than what it sold for. So that's why I think that the numbers for the
And let's face it, Catamount and Stella are no comp for Mine Hill, even if there was a house on it. It's just not the same. So that comp, like you said, throw it out to Stella Land. That's just an example. These comps are not what we needed.
Okay, so I think we're ready to vote.
So I'll make a motion, if that's okay, to approve, to grant the appeal as requested to the requested value of $927,000. Who want to call for the vote?
All in favor? All opposed?
Opposed?
Aye.
Aye.
Paulette?
I said aye, I'm good.
Okay.
So the motion fails. 050.
Where's number 19? Not here.
Not there?
Brother.
Seriously?
Yeah. Unless it's stuck. Oh, no, I'm sorry about that. What's wrong with me?
There is one that, well, I don't know where the recommended by assessor is. Does he only give you 4 folders?
Yeah, I know, because we have 5, right? Don't we?
Yeah, there's one
Yeah,
that
so
was a
maybe not.
no-show, and then there was also recommended by assessor, which is 2 personal properties. And I don't know that he sent those to us in email. No. I'm sure no one's downstairs.
Okay.
I can tell you, that's later on the agenda, so I can text him in the meantime and ask him to explain them. But I don't think we ever had them. They were in a folder in the box.
Oh.
Yeah. So
All
I can
right.
text him and say we don't have it.
Okay, well, we're moving on to appeal number 19.
Give me 1 second. Let me just think. Yeah, so it is, the time is, my clock is wrong, 5:48. The next is appeal number 19, which is 318 Pine Creek Avenue. The town has the property valued at $2,370,400, and the appellant's fair market requested value was $1,477,365. And the appellant was Wendy. The owners are Wendy and Edwin Levine. Wendy Levine was the person who was here to appeal.
Okay, so from my perspective, I know that for the most part, we try to look at sold comps in the valuation period, but every now and then, there's a case that that formula doesn't apply to, in my opinion, to the appeal that's being made here, and I think this is one of those cases. Her lot, her land is clearly valued so much higher than some of the other ones that are comparable to hers. And so I took a good look at all of these properties on that waterfront. And I've been actually in this house. Carol, you probably have been too. And I think you sent one of the photo that when you're looking straight out from the front window of that house, you're looking at Fairfield Beach Road. You are dead smack looking right at the back of those houses on Fairfield Beach Road. If you look to the right, out the side window, yes, you can see the sound from that, from that angle. There are other houses that have unobstructed views that have a much less value placed on their land than the appellant. So that's, and I can go through a couple of those comps. But the other thing I want to make a point about here is that I know, Kathleen, you have said before that, well, they have a cottage on the property and, that adds value. That adds income. But I don't always equate that to adding value because in this case, I can tell you, this is our listing with Compass. It was on the market for 240 days. Sometimes a cottage on a property is not something that buyers want because they may want the main house and then they may think, I don't want that cottage. I don't want somebody else living in that cottage on my property. So what am I going to do with it? It's not always an added feature to a listing. The other thing with this house is, and another reason why the buyer backed out, is because the agent said it was a total remodel. I think she billed it as new, rebuilt in 2018. It was actually lifted in 2018. So some of those houses that are on that waterfront were torn down and rebuilt. This was not a rebuild in 2018. This was actually lifted. I talked to the agent. She said the two things, couldn't sell because of the taxes. Everybody questioned and complained about the taxes, and also the cottage was a problem. Not everybody wants that. Let's see. I'm just thinking, and then talked to Jackie Davis too, and she said, when we were going for our CO, she said, I went down to town hall, went down to the assessor's office, and I actually said to them, are you sure these taxes are correct? Is this what I'm paying? And they said, no, yes, this is correct. This is what you're paying. So she said, I don't know why anyone thinks that I have a mistake made on my property because, and they said to her, no one's ever come down here and asked if the taxes are correct. They just, if they think it's low, they just don't even touch it. But she actually went down and questioned them about it. There's, I'm trying to think here, 3 answers. Let me look at my notes. There's some unobstructed view houses, obviously Jackie Davis's, the Doolittles at 296. The appellant is at 318, 320. There's no house across the street from 296. There's no house across the street from Jackie Davis's, across the sound there. And I mean, the land at Jackie's is like, well, the land is 574. the land at, the land next door on the other side, they have basically, and I've been in that house too, that's the O'Connors, they basically have the same view as the appellant. I mean, literally, same view. If you look straight ahead, you're looking at Fairfield Beach Road. If you look to the right, you see the Sound. They have a much larger lot, and their land is worth $875,000. $875,000. That's almost half of what the appellant's property is. I just don't see how.
I'm sorry, which number are you talking about?
The O'Connors, which
350?
is number 334. It's on the other side. On the other side is the appellant's property.
Oh,
It's a bigger lot.
okay,
So
yes.
their lot is 18,000 square feet, and the appellant's property is, let's see, 11,000 something square feet.
The way I understand it is that it's because of the coding. So after the appellant's house, the coding changes. Because if you look at, and forget about
CC2.
Jackie's.
Yeah,
I mean, he basically said it's based on the other side of the street.
Yeah.
So whatever, that's not my issue. That's not up for discussion in my opinion, because it's not our appeal. But I was intrigued because the house to the left of the appellant was not mentioned. And that was 350. And 350 is also coded as PC5. So I think that we need to talk about whether these two houses, here's the appellant's, okay?
no, right
And
next
here's
door.
350. These two houses have this. This one starts with clear water. So these two,
I think that's
334 is right next to the
334
appellant.
is to the west.
no, 334 is this way.
Yeah,
I'm
further down.
saying,
That's not that's lower than, it's 296 maybe? Yeah, she's 318.
One house, the house
Lower
next
number.
door,
if you're facing her house,
Yeah, that number's
they're
wrong
from
on that.
this one,
from the
this
street.
one,
You're facing your house.
From the water.
from the street,
From the street
water.
or the water?
From the water, let's use
Oh.
the picture. So we're on the water. Forget about 334. I'm talking about this house.
To the left,
Yes,
316.
that's not Jackie's.
No.
Jackie's is over one.
Right, that's
Jackie's over
316.
Okay, I have it
Oh.
down as 316 and 350. Oh, okay.
Oh, is it
That one is also coded,
PC5,
those two are coded
right.
almost like they're not quite waterfront, but that's the way I understand
Yeah.
it.
But if
So
you're
that's the
looking at the one
question.
to the right, they have the same
The same.
views as the appellant. And they have a larger piece of property.
This one. It's the same view, but you're not getting any Long Island Sound. I think
Yes,
that's.
yeah, I've been in that house. Yes, you are.
You do?
Yes.
From here, this one?
Wait, not from the front view, but
No,
when
no,
you're
no.
looking to the right,
Yeah,
absolutely.
you still do?
Yes.
Okay. Well,
So, I mean,
it's sort of like then which one is the right one?
well, I
So
mean,
can I
Yeah.
add something? So
Yeah.
I don't know if you saw the emails and things that the assessor added to the file in the
Mhm.
last few days.
Yeah.
Okay, so, I mean, if you can just let me.
Yeah, read them.
Well, I just want to, my case was there are two sales close by, 262 Pine Creek sold for $2.1 million in October of 2020, and 296, which is two doors over, sold for $2.9 million, and it's very similar to the subject property. Built in 1927, has 0.3 acres, same amount of acreage, it has a little cottage on it. The cottage is a little smaller, but it's very close and is a little bit smaller, doesn't have a dock, but does have a generator. It's not FEMA compliant, the subject property is FEMA compliant. So anyway, he put a brand new, so what I asked him to do is to take a look at these codes because the appellate had asked, for an explanation. So he spoke with her, so I just want to read to you what he said after he spoke.
Excuse me, pardon me, I have to interrupt.
Yes.
Let me interrupt. I thought we talked about this every single time we meet, and I'm sick of saying it. He has no right to add to that file after he had his evaluation. They get one shot, not two. Now, because you went to him and asked questions, and I understand why you did, and that's fine, nothing wrong with that. He wanted to give us information. We did not solicit his comps. We solicited information as to why it's a 2 and not a 4.
I did. I asked him
If you
I
asked
asked
the comp,
him for the comp.
We
then you
asked
should not have
people,
asked
the
for, I'm
appellant,
talking now.
to talk to them.
Hello, can I please finish, or do you have to interrupt every single time I'm talking?
Go ahead.
I don't care if you ask for comps. We've talked about this over and over again. That's how you used to do it when you had your own thing done by yourself with everybody sitting in the room watching. He does not get to add comps now. That's what you guys used to do with the overhead projector and all this comp. Bullshit. We don't do that. He had his shot at it. Now, because he did, let's hear what you're going to say, and we're putting it aside, and we're having her come back with more information so that she gets a second chance, whether you like it or not. So go ahead. Tell us what he said.
First of all, I asked for him to put the cards in the file for the 2 comps that I mentioned, the 262 and the 296. Okay, I asked for those, and I have a right to ask for those, and he put them in
Yes,
there.
for those.
The second thing was I wanted to make sure, that the appellant was answered and she got an understanding of the coding. So this is what he said. The PC5 is used on the parcels on the water side of the property from number 10 through number 318. This code's been in place since at least the 2010 reval. PC2 starts at 334 and extends to 485, which is at the bend in the creek. 282, Pine Creek, was miscoded as a PC8, which is supposed to be for parcels on the opposite side of the street without any water frontage. So what he recommended to do is, where's my other list here? Just give me a second, I will find the other piece of paper. What he thought, give me 1 second, so that he agreed that these 3 properties here, number 316, number 318, and 334, so the appellant's property, which is 318, and the one to the west and the one to the east, their land values are probably too high. What he recommended doing was giving them a code of a PC6, which is a lower value than, which is a 2.4 value. And the ones to the west that have the full beach frontage are 3.2 value, and the other ones going up the creek are 1.6. So what he recommended to do with those 3, and what he intends to do with the next reval, is to do that with those 3 properties.
And Jack,
so I asked him to please do it. No, he's moving the one to the right is going to go up, the 334, because it has partial water views. The one to the west, the 316, is going to go down because it has the same issue of having partial water views, so that the land is not valued as much as it is for the ones that have full frontage, full ocean views, but not as low valued as the ones as you move further up the creek. And 318 and 316 do both have docks with ladders that go down to the beach and go down the wall, so they have some access to the beach. So I would be in agreement that those properties are valued more, but not as much as the full waterfront. So he added a card to the file. It's the very last document in the appeal that includes the new value. It's about, I won't quote it because I'm going to look it up. It's the new value with a 2.4 land value on it, and that will stick with it and stay with it.
How does that change the number?
Yeah, what will that?
It brings it down around 1.9 from
Total?
2.3. Let me just see.
Okay,
So that
No.
was his recommendation, what he intends to do next year with it, so that it stays with it based on, the partial water views and yet the access in the spot for those 3 properties.
here's another reason why this makes no sense.
No sense at all.
Because the first house on Pine Creek Avenue, number 136, their property is exactly the same size, 0.32, and their land valuation is exactly the same as the appellant's property. They have full beachfront.
On the
That's
far,
right, so that's what he wants to do, is bring it
Full
down.
beachfront.
That's right.
There's one, but their land value is 16235, which is
What's
what the
their
appellant's is. PC5.
Right, and the appellant is PC5. If you change it, the land value comes down to 1.2 from wherever it is now.
So everybody with,
Right now, her land is 1.6.
So what will it bring it down to?
It'll bring the land down $400 and some odd thousand and bring the property value down to 1.9.
No,
It'll bring it down to 1.964. It will not bring her down to what she asked for, which was, where's the appeal here? She asked for 1.4. She paid 1.7 in 2017. And she does have a large piece of property.
I mean,
But I'm comfortable with the 1.9 number. It's almost
But
a $500,000.
I'm not.
The thing is, we shouldn't be going by what the assessor is going to do for the next valuation for the property next door, which is going to raise it. Okay, because right now, the property next door, which is essentially the same views, and it's bigger, their land value is $870,500.
Right, their land's gonna go up.
Yeah, but it isn't, but.
How nice for
but
them.
It isn't now. I mean, it is in 2020, it was $870,500. So that's what I'm looking at.
I mean, at the end of the day, we need to look at the market value of the property, what it would have sold for in October of 20.
See, I don't think that applies here. I
It
think
doesn't.
every now and then there's something that is, I don't think we can use that rule to apply to this. There's some things that just fall outside of that way of looking at valuation.
First of all, I'd like
what are
to
you
say that,
proposing?
I mean,
was I
go
not
ahead,
talking?
Paula.
Thank you. First of all, what I like to say
Yes.
is, I agree with Helene when it comes to going back to the cottage. I thought about this a long time, and the reason I agree with her is because cottage is a building. The buildings we're not talking about. We're not looking at. We're looking at only the land for now, till we make the final setup of what the whole thing is valued. In the meantime, they're already taxed on the fact that they have rental property. They have to fill out an income sheet. They have to go through a whole thing, and they're taxed on that. So whether or not it makes the land more valuable, people can say it does. We say it doesn't. It matters what the buyer says, and they lost a lot of sales because of it. It gets taxed through a different way. So it doesn't belong being considered in the land value. It's not the land. It's a building. You're going to consider every in-law apartment in town part of the land value? I don't think so. That's that. Number two is, I don't care what Ross thinks, and everybody knows it. I have no trouble saying it, especially when he shouldn't be saying anything at all. Kathleen, you ask him questions, that's fine. You have every right to ask. And if you want to have the R2s and the R3s and the R whatevers explained to you, that's fine. If you need the explanation, I'll agree. I don't understand them as well as you do. I don't want to understand them any more than I do. Because to me, they make no sense at all, at any time. He found a way to get more money, and so that's what he did, what he always does. He made those codes, he made those districts and those neighborhoods, so it works out for the town. It's not fair. The other thing is, we're doing what you, again, I'm going to say it again. We're doing what the other board, when Howard was supposedly in charge, but he really wasn't, when he was in charge, because you're doing exactly that. You're inviting the assessor to make a decision for the board. He made a decision, and now you all of a sudden agree with it, because that's what you used to do. You squeezed it right in the way I don't want it done. He told you what he thinks, and okay, that's fine. I like that. Of course you like it. You always agree with him. So yeah, you like it. No, but I don't like it. I don't think Helene likes it. We already said we don't agree with it. He has no business being involved in this, except if he wants to answer questions for you, for your understanding to be improved, that's fine. And I don't care, like Helene, I don't care what he does in 2022 or 21 or 25. Okay? He can do it next year. He can do whatever he wants. And these people can come and complain again, and we'll see what the story is at that point. We're looking at 2020 values and then trying to see where they work out. I have no problem with that woman's value of $1.4 million. At all. If somebody wanted to make a motion that we do,
I just want to say, I think that if.
Sorry, Peter, I don't know if Peter's had a chance yet. Do you have anything to add?
Well, no, I just, as you talk about the cottage part, you know, I mean, let's be honest. You're telling me that you would sell that property, and you're not gonna mention that there's, in your, you know, sales pitch, that, you know, someone has a rental opportunity here. So
This is the way I'm gonna
I
answer
disagree.
that.
I don't think, okay?
I'm going to answer your question, Peter. This is the way I'm going to answer that. We're not discussing what I would do, because we're going right back again into that same story of how being a realtor makes a difference.
Wait a second, I remember I was talking, so yeah, you know what, I'm gonna
Well, you asked the
reserve my
question.
time, or take my time
I'm
back,
sorry, go
whatever.
ahead. No,
So, excuse me,
keep
I'm
going.
talking,
Keep going. I mean,
right? So first thing I would like to point out, Paula, is you're back to being uncivil. So please,
I'm uncivil?
you know,
well, Peter,
hold
explain
your tongue,
to me.
you know.
Please explain how, and maybe I can change it. How am I being uncivil? Because I told the truth? I'm sorry if that offends people, but that is the truth.
No, you're you know, promoting motives to people, both members and non-members, you know, throughout anything that you say. So,
I'm sorry.
what I'm saying is, and it was a rhetorical question, so I don't really need your response, because
But don't
I
answer one.
believe
Okay.
that you as a realtor, and any realtor in this town would say, there's a cottage on this property, and yes, I, you know, understand all of the concerns about a cottage on your property. It brings value. Further, and then also, this person purchased this property in 2017 and paid more than they're asking for now, when we know that the market has gone up. So, for those reasons, you know, I can't go anywhere close to what
Okay.
this person's asking.
All right, that's your opinion, that's fine. I have no argument with your opinion. I have an argument with the way things are done when they're not supposed to be done that way. And if you think I'm uncivil because I brought up a person who was involved in it, who probably, I won't say it, I'm not going to say probably engineered it, forget I said that, who was involved in it, who took advantage of her position on the board to get something for herself. And that's why I have some issues there. I'm sorry, but that did happen. You were there, Peter. So was Helene.
Yeah, okay, we don't need to hear it. You've said that.
No, you don't need to hear it again, but you keep forgetting. You keep forgetting, Peter. You keep forgetting, Peter, that you...
Please refrain from it.
No, I won't, and here's why. Because you take her side half the time. Why? Wake up, Peter. There's only one person she's interested in, and that's all I'm going to say about it. Go on with the vote or whatever.
Can we please move on?
I just said that. Move
I
on.
just want to clarify that,
Is
Okay.
Peter finished? Peter, are you
Yeah,
finished?
I'm finished, yeah.
He's finished.
no, I just want to clarify, Peter, I don't think we meant that we would not, you know, advertise it as cottage, because obviously the last listing said that too. I'm just saying it's not always viewed as a positive, you know, and in this case, the agent confirmed that, you know, but I don't even think that cottage is really the issue here. It's really the value of the land. So I would like to see that PC number change, but I don't know that PC 6 is the appropriate number. Did he give you any other scenarios besides PC 6?
I asked for something halfway between the two, and that's halfway between the two. It's halfway between 3.2 and like 1.6
Wait,
or
so
whatever.
if next door is,
2.4.
if next door is PC 2 and they're PC 5,
It's not a numerical assignment. There's
of
a,
course it isn't.
no, it doesn't go in order. For the PC 1 isn't the lowest and 6 the highest. They're just random numbers with different values assigned. So you have to look at the value in the table. And he put that online as well. So the PC codes and their values is on the website. And it lists the 7 codes and what each value is. So a PC 2 is valued at, what did we say? 1.6? A PC 2 is 1.65, a PC 5 is 3.2, and a PC 6 is between the two at 2.4. It's halfway between the two. And that's what I asked for. I said something that transitions you from the creek to the full beach, because these properties do have some access to the beach. They can have a dock on the creek as well as get to the beach. So they do have some value in that respect.
Well, they all do. I mean,
No, the
once
ones
they-
on the
once
front
they-
here don't have docks that I'm aware of. You can't have a dock once you have the beachfront, where this.
No,
doesn't have
no.
both, right, this has both. This has a dock with a walk down to the beach and a dock where it can
But,
tie.
I mean, clearly, you have to recognize the fact that the first house on the beach has the same valuation in the land as the appellant.
I'm not
It
arguing
doesn't make
that.
any sense.
I agree, that's why. But I think their value has more value than the ones that are further up the creek, that's what I'm saying. So I don't think they should go as low as she's requesting to go to the same value as everybody else up the creek. And I don't think that that's appropriate. I think she has
Well,
no
no,
use.
next
She
door,
has.
right next door.
Right, and he's,
Is
and they have
half,
partial.
half of what hers is,
I know.
half.
Again, my biggest concern, my biggest complaint is that I believe she's close to what would be right for her property, but also I resent the fact that we are letting the assessor decide what her value is after he's already had a chance to do that when he did his reval. And we're saying that we don't really believe that, and she doesn't believe it. So again, I'm not comfortable finishing this unless she gets another shot at it. Or
Well,
we can,
and
if that's not,
I think Peter made a good,
go ahead, Elaine.
I think Peter made a good point in saying, you know, she bought it in 2017 for $1.7 million, and we know the prices have gone up since then.
And she put
But-
$500,000 into it,
but
and listed it, and
But
it
I'm
became a
still
compliant.
not,
Oh, for God's sake.
we're talking about the value of the land. I'm still not,
Right.
in favor of $1.9 million total, because what would that, her land would be down to what? What would that bring her land down to?
Her land is going to $1.2 million.
Yeah,
It's 0.3 acres. And
Okay,
that's
well-
why it's also a large parcel. If that's the size of Jackie Davis's, which is a third of that size, or the other one that sold was a 0.12, that other sale.
Leave Jackie's out of it.
Okay, well, I'm just talking about
Let's
myself.
do
Okay,
Jackie
so
out.
let's look at 262 Pine Creek, sold for $2.1 million. And that property is 0.12 acres.
Well, I'm not looking
It's a
at
third of the size.
sold prices. I'm just
Well,
not.
I'm saying that's a house with $2,700. It is FEMA compliant, the same as hers, does not have a second structure, does have an easement next to it. It's a very small lot, and it's sold for 2.1. So I think that at 1.9, she's less than that one. But she has a much bigger lot.
And she's a lot higher than the house right next door, which is
I know,
very
but that house
comparable.
is probably too low.
Well, but it
We
is
don't
what
know
it is
that.
right now, and that's
We don't know
what
that.
we're looking at.
You know,
Okay,
excuse
so
me,
I'll make a motion.
We always say,
Everybody said they're,
well, before we make a motion, are we going with the assessor's value? Because if we are, I need to call her and tell her that we put her aside and we're going to talk to her once more. And if nobody wants that, I don't care. I'll call her myself and tell her she needs to know that the assessor had a second chance to decide on her property value. So let me know what you want to do.
I asked for numbers, let's be clear about that. I
I
asked
understand that. You have every right to ask for numbers. But then as we go
I'm
on,
not following what is being proposed.
I'm not.
Are you
I'm not-
saying we're not gonna vote?
no,
Well, I'm
I'm
just
saying,
saying from my perspective.
right, from my perspective, if you let the assessor decide on this lady's value, you've done the exact wrong thing. You've broken your trust with the people. And Kathleen had every right to ask for numbers. She had every right to ask for an explanation of what those idiot zones mean. She had every right to do all of that. And she had every right to talk to the assessor. That isn't my issue. My issue is it goes deeper than that. It never stops. Now it goes into, well, now he said this. She didn't ask him. She didn't ask him. Well, yes, she did, because later you said, well, what do you think? And what do you think means, what do you think the value is, Ross? Isn't that what you're asking him? And he says, oh, $1.6 million. And now you come in here and say, oh, $1.6 million sounds good to me. Who decided that? You or Ross? Ross did. So you let him get involved and you let him make a decision that he never should have made. And he's never going to not make it. He's always happy to stick his nose where it doesn't belong in our business. So what I'm saying is, yes, you go so far, but then you went too far. And Ross is to blame too, but I can't do anything about Ross. He's not here. So I'm just saying that if we're going to pick a value that the assessor chose on our behalf for us, we're making a mistake. Pick another number.
So I would say that first of all, the assessor did pick a value. That's the assessment that's currently in place. Kathleen asked for some information. The assessor provided that information. he's not, you know, we're not mandated to take his assessment, or
But you did.
his, you know, like, no.
No one has done anything
Yeah,
yet.
right, we haven't voted, and you're welcome to vote. No, I don't believe this woman has, any right to come back in here. We gave her extra time to provide information, she did, and, you know, we're now making a decision. So again, you are chair, you are not, you know, the dictator, so please, act accordingly.
I'm not what? I'm sorry, Peter, I didn't hear that. I'm sharing, I'm not.
You're not a dictator. You're a chair, you were voted chair, not, you know, keeper of the information, right? Not safeguard of the information, you are the chair. You are, you know, supposed to be running the meeting in your absence from here physically. Helene is doing that, but listen, you can't just, you know, dictate to us what kind of information we have access to, all right? So, please.
Peter, I would never think to dictate to you or anyone else. God knows. I try to be patient. I'm not patient, but I try to be. I'm not, but I try to be. I lose my patience.
You know, this
It's a hard one.
the appellant's property and the property next door, we know it's gonna change next year. I wanna bring this down to be, in line with the property next door, because I think
Which
that's
next door? Just left or to
the one
right?
that is, where the land is valued half.
I
of
know,
what
they
the
have
appellant's
more
property is.
obstructed views than she does.
But it's so subjective, I'm telling you, if you were in those properties, you would know, it's just, you know, I don't see how you measure that.
Can
It's
you
almost
get that a
identical.
record? Can you quote both of those land values again, please?
She has access to the beach, and she has a second house, too,
And-
so.
Well, no, I'm not looking at the second house. So
I'm not looking at the second house.
land valuation, the
Yes.
appellant's property land valuation is 1,623,500.
Okay.
The O'Connors right next door that have a much bigger piece of property, their land value is 870,500.
And when you say much bigger, let's go to
There's
record. say
18,000 square feet on the lot, and the appellant's is 11,000 something.
Okay.
No, it's point
0.37 versus 0.32,
Okay.
yeah.
It's a third of an acre.
Yeah, not a
Well, what's the,
Yeah.
Helene, what's the value?
No, but I mean, they're half.
half. Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
I get it.
So, I mean, even if we don't
It's
grant it in full,
This is a hard one.
I feel like we need to give her a significant reduction in the land value. And then whatever happens next year is a different story. But I just, the fact that she's the same value as the first house on the beach is crazy to me. And I don't think going to a PC6 is enough.
Okay, then someone needs to make a motion to,
Yeah, but I don't
you know,
want to.
I'll make a motion to, and I guess you can vote it down. I'll make a motion to grant the appeal and reduce, grant in part to $1,964,400. That's my motion.
So if we vote this down.
We can vote it down, then someone else has to make another motion after that. So that's my motion. $1,964,400.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Aye.
Aye, but not much more in my opinion.
And Paulette, what's your vote on the 1.964 number?
Paulette,
She abstaining?
are you there?
You're muted.
Sorry, okay, I'm muted, my mistake, I'm sorry. I was not in favor of the 1.9. Now, did somebody else make another motion that I missed?
No.
Or are we waiting to make another one? Okay. So,
Now
I
we're waiting for
don't
someone to
believe
make another motion.
Okay, I make a motion that we reduce the value, and reduce in part, to 1,550.
1550?
Yep,
Okay.
Okay, hold on one second. Let
That's
me
the
just-
motion on the table, 1550. That's a grant in part, right? Because she asked to go to 1,000,004 something.
yes, that's a grant in part.
That would make her land valuation 803,100.
Isn't that what the?
Maybe that's a little too low.
Doesn't matter, I mean, we still only have, the motion has to be the full value of the property, it can't be.
No, I know, I'm just throwing that number out there.
Holly, do you think that's too
Is
low?
that your
'Cause
motion, Paulette, or are you withdrawing the motion?
No, that's my motion, I'm not
No,
withdrawing the motion.
Okay, so let's take a vote on 1,550,000, right? All those in
yeah.
favor?
Aye.
She in favor? Okay, Paulette's in favor. Opposed? Opposed. Okay, so 140. So the motion is
Okay, so now we need yet another motion, right?
Let me just,
Mm-hmm.
let me just think about this for a minute.
Okay, let Holly think about it for a minute there.
What does 1.8 do?
1.8.
I was thinking 1.7.
No.
Total.
1.7. Helene, that's more than the
1.7 would bring
assessor
her
wanted.
land to 953,100.
1.7 is what
Land
you
to
paid
what?
for it.
953,100.
Yeah, and what, say again?
1.7 is what she paid for. Do you want to give her what she paid in 17?
Well,
for it?
I'm
No.
looking at the land.
No,
Okay.
I know, I can't be siloed though, I'm trying to blend it, I'm trying to balance a lot of different things. So I'll make a motion for 1.8, I can't do 1.7.
Did someone make a 1.7
I just in my
motion,
heart
or
can't
no?
vote for
No.
what she paid.
So the 1.7 is not a motion? No. Okay. Another motion.
This is a
Carol.
tricky one.
Carol, what's your motion?
I just did one.
Oh, for how much?
Oh, I said 1.8.
1.8.
And what does that bring the land value to?
1,053,100.
Too much.
So that's a grant in part, so 1,008,000. Do you want to vote on that?
Well, we're getting directional here, we're not comfortable with 1.5, we weren't comfortable with 1.9,
9.6.
and we're not gonna get a vote at 1.7. So if we don't come to something, she's
Yeah.
gonna get nothing.
Nothing, she'll
Yep.
get nothing.
Yep.
That's right.
That's a good way to look at it.
I don't mean to sound stonewall.
No, I mean, that was.
Sorry if that sounds that way.
Why we're doing
I'm
it.
not trying to make my thing go, I'm just, we all vote on our own conscience
All right,
here.
so you made that motion?
1.7.
1.8.
1.8.
1.8, sorry, 1.8 with the million-ish.
All right, well, I think that could be the best we're gonna do. So,
1.8?
all in favor?
Sometimes we feel good. Okay.
Aye.
Aye.
What did Paulette vote?
I'm not voting
Paulette,
on
did
that.
you vote yes or
Ridiculous.
no?
I'm voting
Okay.
abstain.
So I vote no, but I don't know what Peter votes.
Well, then we're gonna be,
Oh, wait a minute.
No, you don't know what Peter's gonna do.
Vote your guns.
Paulette voted no, I voted no. Peter?
I didn't vote no.
I'm going,
Oh, I thought you said you voted no.
I did not vote no.
The number on the table is 1.8. Helene asked for it, right? Did you call the vote?
Yeah.
Helene was
Yes.
in favor and Carol was
Carol.
in favor.
What happens if someone abstains? If someone abstains, such as Peter, what happens?
Depends
We've got
I don't
two
know.
against, two
Then-
two
What
against,
No,
is-
if somebody
all other than
abstains,
that.
no, if somebody abstains, they abstain, and we just count the rest of the votes, right?
Yeah,
Is that what
but
happened?
But if it's 2-2, it said the motion fails.
All right, with my arms twisted behind my back and a rope around my neck because I'm choking, I'll vote in favor of it. Happy, everybody?
Now about the rope part, no, but,
Oh.
okay, I'm voting no. Peter, how did you
I'll
vote?
vote no.
Okay, so it's 3-2. And it passes for a grant in part to 1,008,000.
And I hate this.
It's at a $500,000 reduction, so you should be very happy.
they're all over the map down there.
Yeah.
Who's happy? I'm not
That
happy.
was very long.
All right, moving on.
Okay, the next one is appeal number 22. The appellant is Lori Schaefer. The property address is 720 Silver Spring Road. The town has the property valued at $1,035,300, and the appellant's opinion of fair market value was she requested $1,250,000. She did say in her appeal that that number was a number that a broker gave her, as if she was going to sell it
Now,
currently, right
Yeah.
now. That's right, and I believe in the hearing, if everyone else wants to check their notes, I don't know that she ever changed her number to anything specific while she was in the appeal, that she ever gave us a hard number. I have a 950 number circled on my sheet, but I know there was a 900
yeah, I have
and
900.
and a 1 million. So
She
I think we'll
she
just,
was asked several times to provide numbers.
Yeah.
She would not.
so I think we'll just list it as the 1.25, and then we just decide what we want to do.
What did you say about her saying 900?
There was a 900 to 100, $900,000 to $100,000 range put out there. There were some other numbers put out there, and I don't believe she ever gave us a number.
I
And
think
her
she was
time,
more adamant
her
about
time was
not
up.
wanting to
That's
give a
right.
number.
So I would say when I do the minutes, I'm just going to do it at the value that she originally wrote on her form, which was $1,250,000. We can do whatever we want. We can still vote to whatever we want, but I'm not going to change her requested amount because I'm not confident that she has any other number. The time is 6.
Well,
6:29.
she has already a discount for the wetlands.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I'm sorry, Helene, if I'm jumping
Get to
in where
that.
you are.
No, no.
Or we go the other way? We'll go the other way. I'll go first. I would say that the one comp that she gave us was 660 Silver Spring, that's on her street, that sold for $850,000 in June of 2020. I think it's 2 doors away from her.
Mhm.
It is a different style home than her house, but I think it's fairly similar in other ways. She's got the 3-car garage and the pool. She did say she's got more wetlands on her property. But she mentioned that one several times. So I'd be comfortable going somewhere between that 850 and where the town has her now.
Where's the town have her again? I'm gonna see the
They have her at
cover sheet.
$1,035,300.
Yeah, so she has a .9, right, on her wetlands, already. Now, anyone familiar with this right-of-way easement notation?
She says she has an easement over the back of her property. I think it's access to some open space, or some Aspetuck Land Trust has space up there.
Yeah, and that's got a bit of, it's kind of interesting. I mean, again, we're going sidetrack, but I was intrigued to see how the right-of-way discount of 50% is only on that tiny piece of the easement.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't look like it really takes into the value of the property, which sort of baffled me.
Mm.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because if your easement is a thin strip of land on 2 acres, then that thin strip of land only gets the 50% discount. I shouldn't say only, but gets a 50% discount on that time. Whereas, like, to me, it should be like the wetlands go down by the whole property.
Right.
So that was a little intriguing and not to her benefit, but there's definitely a discount applied to someone's property when you can have easements on both sides.
And if I may interrupt,
Her
one
pool
of
is
the worst
20,000.
easements, I'm sorry, I just wanted to say one of the worst easements is that Aspetuck Land Trust easement. Because you have gas company easements,
Right.
water company easements, they never show up, except that the electric company did, they.
Right. No,
But
yeah,
those
I
guys
understand.
But those guys don't tend to do that. But the Aspetuck Land Trust, you've got strangers walking across your backyard, throwing garbage, and people's gonna say, how do you know that? I know it because I used to have to clean it up on my own property, my own customer's property before it's showing. They leave garbage, they leave food wrappers, they sit there like they own it. It's not an easy easement to have. But it really does only affect that, it basically affects that piece of that land.
And so,
That land.
Do we want to go around the circle still and
So
state your opinion? My opinion would be like 925 or something like that. I bring her down halfway between that and what the house sold for next door. Between the 850, because she has the pool and a few other things, and the $1 million that she's at. That's my opinion.
Oh, I have
I'd be
another,
okay with that.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing.
wait a minute, I have a question.
And-
So he has the discounted land value because of the conservation easement. Do we know how much of that property is involved in that easement?
Yes, a very small amount.
Okay.
Is she 720?
No, 720.
Yeah, so it says that the condition goes down by 0.38, and the land is 0.15.
0.15, yeah.
So, 1 acre is 1. So 0.1, like I'm saying, it's a tiny, teeny weeny strip.
I don't know that that's the size of the easement. I think that's just the excess acreage above the 2 acres. And so that's why it's a separate land item.
But that's
That's
where the
right,
right-of-way
right.
easement is, I don't,
Yeah. I don't know if that's the reason why
Well-
they put the .38 on it as opposed.
The reason
not
I was asking about how much of the land is involved is because if it's a lot bigger piece than what we think it is, then that deduction should be more. And the other thing is that, if it depends on what kind of an easement it is. Is there a water course back there? Is there any water involved? Because according to the
well,
state
there's
statute,
wetlands.
Yeah.
no, wetlands doesn't mean there's water coursing through the property.
No,
According to
right.
the state statute, if that has water on it, then the property around that, more property
Well-
around it is considered restricted as well, so they get a bigger discount. So I just want to make sure
Yeah,
we're
but the
looking at.
pool was put in. She was able to get a pool in, so it can't be that significant, because you wouldn't be able to put a pool close to, water, right?
Right.
Well, it depends. How close is it? I mean, we don't, it's hard to tell from the map. Is it 100 feet? Is it 50 feet? Is it 20 feet? So, it all depends. It's hard to tell from the map.
I don't know.
We don't know.
The argument that she provided, her, I don't know, in my opinion, it's like if she didn't even want to give the number one requirement of the appeal process,
okay.
which is to give us a
Okay.
value.
All right.
So I'm inclined to come up with something, but, sure, I don't feel badly because in my conscience, because she didn't say 750. She
I
didn't.
agree. I think
She refused to come up with a number, so I
Okay.
would vote on the 925.
I would too.
20 feet wide is the Pent Road or the lane. I'm guessing that's it. I'm looking at her deed. The rights of others to use the Pent Road or lane 20 feet approximately in width, adjacent to and parallel with the southerly border of lot number 11 and the westerly border
So
of the others.
If next year she'd like, as a suggestion, to get an appraiser to value that in more depth, take a look at that in more depth, that would be a suggestion.
All right, whatever.
I'll make a motion. Anybody else have anything else to add? I'll make a motion that we grant the appeal in part and reduce the appraised value to $925,000.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Abstain.
All
Paulette,
opposed?
how do you vote?
I'm abstaining.
Did you?
Paulette, what do you? Abstain. Okay.
All opposed?
Okay, so the motion passes 401. Okay, the next appeal, 638. Did she say hold on to us?
No.
No, okay. So the next appeal is appeal number 26. The property location is 32 Overlook Avenue. The property owner is Nahid Zaman Khan. The town has the property valued at $209,900, and the appellant is requesting to go to a value of $190,100. She said that the condo's near the highway, near a busy road in a commercial area, and she thinks her assessment is too high. Appraisal is too high. I mean, I can go first. I mean, I looked, although I thought I put it on here, I don't see it. I looked at some of the other condos around her. I don't know what I did with it. The one at the same building as her down the bottom is in the 190s range. I'd have to look it up again, but I'd be okay going to that, the value of her neighbor. I believe she was bumped up. It looks like on the card that change in reinspection in February of 24, they updated and upgrades based on the listing, the sales and listing review of February 24. So that looks like that might be the reason why it was bumped up, because her assessment was lower the previous years. So for this year, she got bumped up based on the listing. So if you guys have looked at the sales listing to know that it was updates and upgrades was the reason for increasing the value this year.
Does anyone know what 54 Overlook, I have my scribbled notes say 54 Overlook was across the street, right? Not facing the highway? And I have that as 220?
Yes, that, and that was in very good condition, sold for $220, yeah.
In July of 2019?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. But that was not on the highway?
No.
Yeah, okay. Oh.
But there are some properties in her complex that have the even numbers, starting with 32 and going to either 54 or 60. I'm not sure which it is. But 34 is the unit, believe above her, and that's valued at $194,800.
194
$800.
above her.
Mhm. It's 34.
Oh, you mean
Overlook.
not literally above her, just
I think there's, it says, some of them say first floor, second floor. So I'm not sure how those units, if you guys look up the listing for it, maybe figure out how. This says unit 2-34 upper on the field card for 34 Overlook.
Yeah, you know, you can't always tell by this, because it could be an upper unit, and then the agent describes the level as main level, because, you know, they're inputting the, you know, upper, they're not gonna put lower.
No.
They want you to think, because it's described as a ranch. So it's all on one level,
true.
so.
The field card says uppers on it for 34, not for 32.
54 was a top floor.
Labor delivery, all online.
Yeah, 54 is also at the 209, 200. Or 209, yeah, she's at 209,900. The 54 is the other one that's valued at 209,200. And that sold for 220 in, July of 19.
But I don't think that backs up to the highway. That's the difference. No?
It looks the same from the outside. I think probably all three units aren't they all in a row on the property, on Overlook? I feel like they all line up on the street.
Yeah, but then there's some across
So she's
the
closest.
parking lot on the other side.
Mm-hmm.
Well, what are we trying to decide? Whether 190, I mean, I'm fine with 190. I don't think anyone wants to go any lower.
No,
Does it matter
I'm
if
fine with
higher
that
or 200 or 190? I mean, what?
She's asking for 190,
190,
right? 100.
yeah,
Mhm.
right.
9100? I'm okay with that.
I think the unit above, what I said, the unit above is 194,800. Thought I looked at all these things. 36 is 194,800.
194.
Let me go back. 194,800, that's 36. 38, 194,800. So probably, most of them are 194,800. unit 50 is 194,800. So I don't know if I'd bring her lower than everybody else, I'd bring her in line with everybody else. But just to be consistent.
Mhm.
Unless you think that she did an amazing amount of improvements on the property if you take a look at the listing. But the pictures I saw online didn't seem like it was.
Something tells me that wasn't that special. Well, I'm okay with 190.
Well, there's two different numbers here, because Kathleen is more inclined to vote on 194 to be in line with the others.
Unless you want to go less because she's on the N unit, although the person above her is 194,800 as well. Is the lower unit less desirable? Does it matter?
Probably, because you can bunk.
Right, yeah.
You want to make a motion to grant it as requested?
To the 190, yeah. I make a motion that we grant the appeal to 190-100. All in favor? Aye. Paulette?
You're muted. Oh, sorry.
She asked for 190-100.
All right. All right,
Yes?
Is that a yes?
that's a yes.
All opposed? Didn't hear what Kathleen did, no.
No, I'm in
We all-
favor. We all voted yes,
Oh,
so,
okay.
yeah,
Okay.
so the motion passes 500.
Okay. All righty.
And then we have one left.
Yeah, I think that's...
Two.
What number is that?
The last one is appeal number 28, and they did not show the property address is 2081 Fairfield Beach Road. The property owner was Jessica Golden. The town had the property, I think she did assessed value at $963,484. So the town's value is $1,376,000, appraised as $1,376,400, asking for a reduction to $750.
They didn't show.
And they did not show.
Oh,
No, she was scheduled for 7:30 on the Wednesday the
so then
5th.
we don't do
Yeah.
anything with that.
Don't do anything.
Right, so I think we just make a motion to grant it, and then, to the requested value, and then we vote. If they withdraw, we don't vote on it. If they don't show, I think we should vote on it, because then it gets into the minutes as a,
Did we reach out? Did anyone reach out and find out?
when she didn't show.
I thought they rescheduled, but.
No, that was a different one that tried to reschedule. Her notice went out.
Oh, well,
Nope.
that's a bummer.
So I'll make a motion to grant it as requested.
Wait a minute, I missed that response. Did anybody reach out to find out why she didn't show up?
No.
No, don't.
Maybe we should? Maybe there's a reason why she didn't show up? Maybe she never got the notice?
I believe in her appeal, she said, I feel like I read somewhere that she said she was going to be out of town for a bit, but I'm not seeing that on her cover sheet.
Oh.
And I don't even
Maybe
have
I'm
the
thinking
folder.
of somebody else. Does anybody have her appeal up? See if there's anything. I only printed out one sheet in the backup, so let's look at her appeal. She's appeal number 28.
Is that why we didn't have the folder? Because
I don't know,
It wasn't
I
a
don't
hearing?
have it recommended by assessment.
Maybe she withdrew and he didn't tell us.
Do you have it up, Celine?
No,
No. Oh, you're still down? Do you
no,
have it?
I'm not, but I'd have to try to find it now.
Dear members of the Board of Assessment Appeals, I received my notice of my change in real estate. I've been out of town, will continue to be out of town till next week. Writing to formally appeal the I will be out of town, continue to be out until next week. And that was on February 20th. She said that. So she'll be out of town the next week. Given these concerns, she said, comparable properties, market conditions, property characteristics, lacks coverage to enlarge it, structure's tiny. Given these concerns, I respectfully request a reassessment and adjustment of the valuation. Appreciate the opportunity to present further supporting
Oh, we can't do that.
documentation, including property appraisals and comparative analysis at a scheduled hearing. I've enclosed the completed appeal form. I'm looking forward to your review of this matter and would be grateful for the opportunity to discuss my case further. Let me know when you've received this appeal and provide any additional instructions regarding the hearing process. Thank you for your time. So that's what she said. I'll be out of town next week, but that was as far. And the reason why her assessment went up was because she had a Creekside property, and the two properties were combined into March of 2024, 2081 and 2082 Fairfield Beach Road were merged together due to the filing of map 8085. So there was no change in her value other than the two separate properties were put together onto one card. And she did appeal the Creekside property and got a reduction on the Creekside property in 2020 or 2021.
Okay, but that's a different property now that
So
she's
that-
appealing.
Well, and now it's part of her property. That's why it's a little
But it changed,
confusing.
just like if she had built a garage on the property, it changed. So I
But I
suggest
understand,
somebody,
so she said
She got a reduction in 2021 from the BAA.
for
She appealed
one
the
property,
property. She came
for the
in.
one property, right?
She appealed the Creekside property. She appealed.
Okay,
That's correct.
And now-
And she got a reduction on the Creekside property.
okay. And now what happened? The Creekside property got merged into the
Garage
other
was
property?
apart.
I'm sorry,
Yes,
what?
the two field cards got combined. So the value, instead of having two separate cards, now all of the values on one card.
Okay, so now she has one lot, not two,
that's the only.
right? She has one lot, not two.
Right.
And she's contesting the value of the new lot. Is that right?
No,
Or
the
the new-
whole
the new
thing.
whole-
I
the
don't
whole
know if
thing.
she
I don't
even
mean that.
understood that that's why it went up.
She got a reduction on something that changed. Therefore, she's entitled to another appeal. Just like if she built a garage and he wanted to raise her taxes, she'd be entitled to another appeal because there was a change in the property. So she is entitled to an appeal, and I suggest somebody call her and set up a date for one.
The change in the value of the property, there was no change in the
It
value.
doesn't matter.
The value didn't
She
change.
merged the property. It's now different.
I don't think she can appeal if the value didn't change.
The value
Yes, she's
didn't
got it.
change, then why is
Got
she
it.
appealing anyway?
She may not understand that she's not getting two tax bills anymore, she's just getting one.
Okay, so still, she thinks she was aggrieved, and that's, so because we've already decided without talking to her that she's not entitled. So what are we gonna do now? Just tell her you can't have it because you already
No,
got,
and-
what are we gonna do?
Well, hold on. She said she was gonna be away until the 20th?
Yeah,
the week after, the 20th. So she's away the week of the 27th. So she was here the week of the 5th.
okay,
And when was she supposed to be scheduled?
She was scheduled for Wednesday night, the 5th.
The 5th.
oh, she didn't come. Okay, so she
And
didn't
she
show
was
up.
the no-show.
Did she know she was, I
Right.
mean, how was she notified of that?
She gets a notice in the mail like everybody else.
Well, yeah, the first time.
And she may get an
Second-
email as well.
Not the
She may
second
also
time,
send an
though.
email.
Okay. Do we know that she never, I mean, all I'm trying to say is, we need to give her her fair due. So if we sent her, who sent it, by the way, the second notice? The notice for the meeting
What
on the
second
5th.
notice?
Who sent that?
The
Did we
hearing
send
notice
it?
goes out of the assessor's office.
Oh,
And it's
Christ.
online. He put a copy of all the hearing notices online, so you can see all the.
Online, so she could go online while she's waiting to hear from us about a notice. She may never have gotten the notice
No,
that
he
was in
puts
the
them
mail.
in the mail.
So what? I put
No,
things in the
he
mail and they
puts
don't
them in
get
the
there.
mail.
Yeah, I put things in the mail and it gets lost. Did you never have that happen to you?
In the past, he's also emailed them all
He emailed them. In the past.
right away,
but we
and
don't
then he
know about
puts it in the
this
mail,
time.
which is required by state statute to send it by mail, regular mail,
The first time. I never heard of it.
within 7 days.
I see we're getting nowhere again. Okay, whatever you want is up to, I don't care. I don't really care. Do what you want. You don't want to give her a fair shot, don't.
I
Do whatever you
personally
want.
think,
Really, do what you want.
okay. So I personally think that they didn't show up for the hearing, which is required. They didn't show
Right.
up. This is not someone who's not experienced with hearing because they already appealed and received, a reduction. And I don't see any, except for, the arguments, I don't see any comps or anything included in her,
But she doesn't have to provide those.
Well, that's true.
She doesn't
but
provide those.
She didn't show up either, so.
Right, she didn't show up the first time and we know why. She explained why. The second time she didn't show up, we don't know why. We're not sure.
No,
she got
that's
the
not,
notice.
that wasn't the first time. She just said she was gonna be out of town. Is that correct?
Yeah, she only got scheduled once, Paulette.
Yeah, there wasn't any second communication.
Okay, do whatever you want. I'm tired of it. Just do whatever you want.
Well, I think Peter makes a good point in that she was here the year before, and she knows, or 21.
Yeah.
She knows how the system works, and I don't know, shouldn't show up.
Okay, she didn't show up. Done.
And she didn't
Get rid
appeal
of
the
it.
house back in 2020 either. She only appealed the creek.
Here now.
Right, so was the motion on the
The
floor?
motion was to grant it as requested, but she didn't show. So I think we voted down unless people want to do something different.
Okay, all in favor? Anybody in favor?
All opposed? No.
No?
Oh, wait a minute. Let's go back one. I'm in
Opposed?
favor. I'm in favor. The rest, then now we can do the opposed.
I'm opposed.
I'm opposed.
Please, do me a favor, Helene, either tonight or tomorrow, whenever you have a chance.
Yes.
Send me your phone number and her email. I'm calling her. I want to know if she ever got that notice. I want to know what happened. I'm not saying we're opening it. I'm saying, we can't open it because you all voted no, so it'll never get reopened. So I just want to know what happened. I'm curious.
I don't have it.
It's on the appeal. It's right on the cover sheet of the appeal. It's her phone number and her email. I don't know that it'd be appropriate to read it into the record. I mean, we
Yeah.
could read it in the record.
We'll text
Give
it
to
to
you
you.
afterwards. Yeah.
We'll text it to you, Paula.
Don't go to any trouble for me. I'll have my brother get it.
We don't want to state it on the phone, on the recording.
Like anybody's listening?
Yeah. All right, so,
You read people,
all right, so
people's names.
that motion failed 1-4-0.
Right, you read
And that was
people's
appeal
names and
number
addresses
28.
into the record. Again, we're both talking, okay. I don't know why I even bother. You read people's names and addresses into that record all day and all night. You won't put a phone number in, like it matters. Whatever. Do we have anything else, or are we done?
So we have the recommended by the assessor that was on the agenda. There were supposedly 2 personal properties that came in very high, that were late, that he originally had, but he just texted to say, don't worry about them, I won't be submitting them. So,
What does that mean?
They're late. We can't do it.
I don't know what that means.
recommended by assessors are changes that we could approve ourselves. right? Like,
Oh, yeah.
he can have things that come into his office that they don't come to us. In some years, there's a list of like 40 of them, or they find errors or whatever else happens. He brings them to us so that we can vote on them so that they can get it for this year rather than waiting until next year.
Right.
In this case, they were both personal properties that filed late. I don't know what the values were there. I thought there was a folder that they were in, but they didn't give us the folder, so we don't have the folder.
So we don't, so do we
unless
know if
brought
you
them
have?
to our attention. They did not appeal. They didn't appeal, right? They didn't come to us. He just knows of them and wanted us to consider reducing them originally. That's what the recommended by assessor is. He finds things,
Oh.
they can appeal if they want, they don't appeal, but he can still bring them to us and ask us to give them a reduction.
Oh.
Right. But he said he doesn't have them, or he's not doing that.
He doesn't have anybody?
That he's not recommending anybody.
Okay.
Right, that's what he said. I mean,
Well, they didn't even fill out the forms themselves.
they didn't appeal, no, he's just, sometimes he will say, these are ones that I think you can, give some relief to,
Oh, John.
especially with the real estate ones, right? So then they can have it. Otherwise, he does it for the next year. With personal properties, it's every year anyway.
Okay.
But the real estate ones, he'll often, some years, he'll give us a list of like 15 of them, and there are card corrections or whatever, so that the people get the reduction now instead of waiting for, because once he signs the grand list at the end of January, he can't make any changes to the grand list, only we can.
Yeah.
So there were 2 supposedly personal properties that he was gonna make a
Okay.
change to, that didn't happen,
Okay.
so.
Okay.
I mean, in the perfect world, that's what someone feels. To me, they should reach out to the people and say, I think you should appeal so that you can get on the docket, but whatever.
I agree, but we're in Fairfield, which is totally imperfect, so they were never gonna see that happen.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
All right.
So I just have one thing I'd like to bring up, add it to the agenda for discussion, possible vote, and that is the 282 Pine Creek Avenue property. That is obviously coded incorrectly, should be coded as a PC5, would bring the value of the property up to $1,923,000. It's currently valued at $1,084,000. It's a coding error. We know it's a coding error, and it's kind of, I feel, our obligation to, in fairness to the other taxpayers, to we have the authority to correct it to the correct value.
Kathleen, I have a question.
I'd like to make a motion. Add that
Yep, I have a
item to
question.
the agenda for discussion.
I-
That's what's on the table. That's it. Not a discussion on the topic, just to add it for discussion,
Okay.
because it's not on the agenda
For right now,
for right now. To have a
Okay,
discussion.
I'm not touching that.
no.
Wait a minute, though, wait a
I'm
minute,
not in favor.
wait a minute. We're adding it to the
You
agenda
can't
so that we
discuss it
can
on the
discuss.
record because it's not on the agenda.
Okay, that's good.
Excuse me?
That's good. So if you want to make a motion, go ahead.
I did. I made a motion to bring it to the table for discussion.
Okay.
Because-
I'm in favor. I'm in favor of that.
So we'll vote on bringing it to the table for discussion. So I'm in favor. Anyone
I'm
else
in favor.
Paulette's in favor. Anybody, well, I don't know who's calling the vote. Anybody
All
opposed to bringing
opposed?
it up for discussion?
All opposed?
Yeah, I don't want to talk about it.
Yeah, I'm abstaining.
And Helene is in favor or not in favor?
Opposed.
Okay, so the motion fails 2-1, so we do not discuss it.
Okay, well, just so you know, I had no problem with your motion. You can make any motion you want. But I had no intention of discussing it because you did not vote in favor of what we chose. Am I correct? Therefore, you cannot reopen one. So we were never going to discuss it anyway.
This is a completely different, this is a different property. This is a totally different subject.
Oh.
We have the authority to raise.
No, I'm not in favor of that.
We have the ability to make a correction.
No, we're not making it. I'm not making any
No, they're
corrections.
probably in the other building tonight.
No, I'm staying out of it.
Let me look
Sorry,
for you.
Paulette, someone walked in. We have to direct them elsewhere.
Okay.
Let me just check.
Hold on. What are you looking for?
The affordable housing,
Oh, affordable housing.
Let me look at their agenda and see. Did you look at the board downstairs?
no, I didn't.
Okay, let me see. What's today? The 12th? Let me see where
Yeah.
they are. In case they're at fire training, I don't want to send you over there. Sullivan Independence Hall, first floor.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So I misunderstood.
Okay, so the only other thing on the agenda is to adjourn.
And why would I ever vote to
Or
raise
if
somebody's property?
anybody,
Why would I ever vote to raise
we're
somebody's
not
property
going to
value?
talk about it on the record. Do we want to meet at the end of March? That's the only other piece of business that, you know, we had scheduled potentially March 26th to approve the minutes from
Yes,
all of
let's
the
just do
hearings and
that.
deliberations. We have
Yeah.
one set left, which would be, well, we just approved all of them except for tonight. So if you want to meet on the 26th to approve tonight, then in September, we would approve the March 26th ones.
Can
Or
we
we can
meet,
just wait
Zoom, I
until
thought we-
Can
September.
we do Zoom or on a teleconference?
I don't care.
Can we do Zoom? Forget it.
No.
Oh, but then.
Well,
it
we
has
just
to
have
be
to figure out how
recorded.
to do it. Well, you can log in from any phone at home. You can record, anybody can record from home and set up this.
Oh. Yeah, that way nobody has to come in.
I'm not sure if you have to have video if everybody's remote. That's what I'm not sure.
Hold on, minutes.
It's one set of minutes.
I'll record my face.
All right, so we'll keep that one on the agenda. We'll keep that one?
Can we put off those minutes, or do we have to?
Yeah,
have-
no, we can wait till September. It's
September?
up to you.
Let's do that. Wait till September?
We don't have to do them now.
Oh, but then all this stuff doesn't get.
No, we
updated.
approved the four of them.
No,
It's just
a
these
minute.
stay draft until September. You're only gonna
Oh.
have at least
Oh,
one
that's
set of
right,
draft
yeah,
minutes,
let's join
right?
September.
What we didn't like other years was that all these minutes, we were approving them in September when nobody could remember. So that's what's gonna happen with this one, but it's only gonna be for tonight, because I got all
Right.
those ones.
And it's only 4, so.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
When do these changes take place?
For the July one.
For July 1?
Yeah, once the numbers are in, then they adjust the grand list. You know, the Board of Finance
So
gets our
regardless of
adjusted
whether it's
number.
a draft minute or not, it's.
Unless someone contests it, but no, it's our decision.
Gotcha.
I mean, technically, I guess we have till the end of March. I mean, I can keep one meeting on the calendar if we decide there's any other reason, or we can decide tonight that we've closed our business for the,
Yeah,
you know,
I think
closed
we're
our business for the
mentally
month
done.
of March and we're done.
Yeah.
yeah, I just didn't want to hold up the changes, but, okay.
No, they'll still get notified.
Okay.
They're just, the minutes are draft, and I'll send them
Okay.
out once I get them done, so if there's any issues, you know, before Ross sends them the letter, he'll send them the letter based on those.
Okay, great.
Okay, I'm not closing,
So are we officially,
wait, I'm not closing our business until I talk to that woman. So we can't close our business. We have until the end of the
Which
month.
woman?
I don't know. I'm not allowed to know her phone number, so I don't know who it is. I said I'd have my brother get it for me.
we're gonna
We're gonna
keep the
text
March,
it to
I'm gonna
you.
cancel all the meetings except for the March 26th. Is that accurate?
Yep.
Okay.
And by
So
the
we'll
way,
keep the
under
March 26th one on the calendar.
okay, good. And under the Freedom of Information Act, I have every right, that number should have been read into the record. But let's end it now. No more fighting for today. I had enough. So, but if you people are all
Anyone
over
wanna
the
make
Freedom
a
of
motion?
Information Act, we don't get to hear it, so that's not right. I'll have to report that. Okay. I'm done. I'll just report it to my buddy over at FOI and we'll see what happens. I know you're laughing. I know you think it's funny. I think it's funny
All right.
too. So, okay, go ahead, Elaine. Let's go.
Call
All
for
right.
a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion to adjourn, the time is 7:07. All in
Couldn't have
favor?
All in favor?
Aye.